Radon gas is a soil gas, and most people usually hear about it for the first time when they're in the middle of a real estate transaction. And so the realtor will have that item on a list of inspections as choices, of what they can inspect. So that's usually when a radon test is conducted. The radon comes from the ground. It's naturally occurring. We breathe it outside, we breathe it inside, but inside it can be trapped in higher levels that are dangerous to us. And radon does cause lung cancer. In fact, it's the second leading cause of lung cancer around the world. And every year there's about 21,000 or more radon cancer-induced deaths. And a lot of them are even from never smokers. So if you've ever heard of someone who's died of lung cancer and they never smoked, radon could definitely be one of those causes. And so in the real estate transaction is where we see it tested. Often a buyer will come in and do that test. And sometimes the seller doesn't even know what it is, or they've never tested their home. And so that's when we see tests come out high. And where we live here in Indiana, we are in a high radon zone. And there's nothing that we can really do to prevent that. It's just the way that the rock is underneath the ground, way back from the Ice Age when glaciers came through here and deposited things. And so we do see more radon here in our area and in Indiana than a lot of parts of the country. And so the national average on radon is 7% of homes are being, having high radon levels over the EPA's action limit. And around here, we see way more than that, almost 30% in Indiana. So it's a lot. So we can imagine 1 out of 3 houses having that in our area. So we always tell people to never not buy a house because of radon. We say, if you love the house, buy the house, fix the house. We would rather see a house with a system and know that levels are good all the time than even have a passing test at like 3 point something, because the lower the levels, the better. So when we talk about that action limit and why they have one is the EPA had to decide how much radon would be, too much radon, where they want to see that fixed. So they came up with a number that's measured in a fancy word called picocuries per liter. But we're looking for that number, and that number is 4.0. And so we want to see something under 4.0, but the lower, the better for sure. And these radon mitigation systems, if you install one in your home, they usually can get the radon levels down below 2. Lots of them around 1 and even less. So we're looking for that number under 4.0. And the only way to know that number is to test. And so in a real estate transaction, and in the laws in Indiana, a homeowner can test their own home, but if it's not your home, you can't test it without a license. And that's why we have radon professionals come in and test homes during a real estate transaction. And so we have all different kinds of testing methods we can choose, but the most popular is to use a continuous radon monitor, which is an electronic device that will give us an hourly reading. Okay, it gives you graphs so we can see how radon levels fluctuate. And it can tell us if people tampered with a test, if people have opened windows. It can tell us if weather has affected a test. So that's really the most popular choice in radon testing for sure during a real estate transaction. So we want to see everyone test so they know where the house is at when it comes to radon levels, and fix that if it does come out 4.0 or above.